The drizzle clung to the streets of Asheville, North Carolina, 2025, turning streetlights into golden halos against the inky night. Mark Weston, 40, stood beside his black SUV in the parking lot of a community shelter, his coat collar up against the biting wind. A tech startup founder with a weary frame and hazel eyes shadowed by a recent divorce, he hadn't planned to stop. His day had already stretched past midnight, meetings piling onto meetings. But something about the woman on the shelter's bench, shoulders hunched under a faded gray hoodie, clutching a worn leather bag, halted him. Her dark eyes, sharp yet haunted, flicked toward him, sizing him up as if he might be a threat. Mark hesitated, fingers tightening on his keys. After his divorce, he'd sworn to keep life predictable for his 9-year-old daughter, Emily. No more risks, no more strays. Yet here he was, drawn to a stranger who looked like she was one gust away from breaking. "You can't stay out here," he said, stepping closer, voice gentle but firm. "Storm's coming." She stiffened, pulling her bag tighter. "I'm fine," she murmured, her voice trembling, betraying the lie. Mark crouched slightly, meeting her gaze. "I'm Mark. I run a company nearby. I don't usually do this, but you look like you need a warm place tonight." Her eyes darted to the street, searching for an escape, then softened, defeated. "Claire," she whispered. "I was a nurse. Not anymore." The word was hit like a stone, heavy with loss. Mark gestured to his SUV. "Come with me, just for tonight. I've got a spare room, and Emily, my daughter, loves company." Claire's surprise flickered, then doubt. "Why help me?" Mark shrugged, honest. "Because I know what it's like to lose everything." She followed, hesitant, her steps slow as they drove through the rain, windshield wipers slicing the silence. Claire spoke softly. "I didn't plan this. Losing my apartment, my job. My mom got sick, cancer. I stayed with her, missed work, missed rent. Everything. Slipped away." Mark glanced at her, then back at the road. "You don't owe me an explanation. Not tonight." At his modest craftsman home, Emily peeked from the stairs, her blonde hair mussed from sleep, blue eyes curious. "Daddy, who's that?" "This is Claire," Mark said, warmth softening his voice. "She's staying with us for a bit." Emily's shy smile lit the room. Claire blinked, unused to kindness, whispering, "Thank you." The next weeks were tentative, like walking on new ice. Claire moved quietly, helping with dishes, folding laundry, her presence a cautious gift. She laughed at Emily's wild stories about school, her voice rusty but growing stronger. Mark noticed how the house felt warmer, Claire's humming while she cooked, her patience as she braided Emily's hair. But shadows lingered. Mark's startup, Nexus Innovations, teetered on the edge of a major deal, and his board questioned his focus, muttering about distractions. Claire, battling the shame of her fall, flinched at every creak, fearing she'd overstayed. One night, after Emily slept, she sat across from Mark, voice low. "I need to find work. I can't just live here." Mark leaned against the counter. "You're not a burden, but if work helps you feel steady, I'll help you find it." They spent late nights crafting her resume, shoulders brushing over his laptop, the air charged with something unspoken, fragile, electric. Claire's skills shone, a decade as an ER nurse. Quick thinking under pressure. Mark connected her with a hospital contact, and weeks later, she landed a part-time nursing gig. Her first paycheck brought tears, and they celebrated with Emily's favorite, homemade pizza, laughter filling the kitchen until the walls seemed to hum with joy. But the past wasn't done with them. Mark's ex-wife, Rachel, resurfaced, demanding full custody of Emily, claiming his unstable life, new houseguest included, put their daughter at risk. Mark wrestled with fear, old wounds of betrayal reopening. Claire, sensing the tension, began retreating, her bag packed one rainy night, much like their first. "You've done enough," Claire said, voice shaking, standing in the hallway. "I'm complicating things for Emily." Mark's heart thudded. He stepped closer, voice firm. You're not complicating anything. You've made our lives better. Emily's happier, I'm happier." Claire's eyes welled, her voice barely audible. "You don't know what it means to feel invisible, then be given a home." Mark placed a hand over hers. "I do, because you've done the same for me." The moment hung, their hands lingering, a quiet promise forming. The custody hearing was a crucible, Rachel's lawyer painting Mark as reckless for taking in a stranger. But Emily, small but fierce, spoke up. "Daddy makes pancakes every Sunday. Claire helps me with math and reads me stories. We're a team." Her words silenced the room. The judge, moved by her clarity, ruled for Mark, granting full custody. Outside the courthouse, Claire hugged Emily, tears mixing with laughter. Mark caught Claire's gaze, gratitude and something deeper, hope, maybe love, sparking between them. That evening, on the porch, Mark set out 3 mugs of cocoa. Emily curled between them. The garden bathed in twilight. "You know," he said, voice soft, looking at Claire, "that night I stopped in the rain, I thought I was helping you. Turns out, you helped us find something we didn't know we were missing." Claire's smile trembled, but held, her hand finding his. They watched the stars emerge, the drizzle now a memory, their lives rewoven by a single act of courage. Not just Mark's, but Claire's, in trusting a stranger's kindness. The house, once quiet with loss, now hummed with the promise of a family rebuilt, not from charity, but from hearts daring to open again.